previous month's bill as well as the subsequent bill that was received?
Or, I don't know what you're looking at here.
The planner.
Okay.
They had submitted a bill after we had approved bills last month, right, that we had some questions about, and then a subsequent bill came in for that. Okay, did we have all of the questions answered regarding that first bill?
As far as I know.
The only thing was, is I did call Don, we were talking about the planner journals,
Okay.
and I just said that I believe that we needed to make sure that we had all the names and addresses so Troy could do his job and we don't have to repay Troy to try to recreate what we already paid for.
Right.
Because that would make absolutely zero sense.
So did we receive that, because the logs didn't have that information in it, but
I haven't received anything yet.
okay. So we haven't received the proper documentation that we had asked for that bill?
I have
Is
not
that-
received anything.
Okay. Was that provided by your office, Tom?
You bet.
Okay.
Every week.
The
That
log,
went- Well, Tom was here as zoning administrator, not
Mhm.
planner. He
Right.
provided the information. He gave reports to you every month,
okay,
the board every month, y'all. Is that better?
yeah.
Thank you. And that is what was given. When Mr. Campbell called and spoke to the office, it was not totally polite. He threatened that you weren't going to pay our invoices. And then he and I talked, and I told him that Tom was here, he's been gone for 2 months, put it that way.
Mhm.
And so now you're asking for information from him. Everything he did should be in the clerk's office, because if he gave a permit out, it should be somewhere. I don't know how you guys keep your records, but
Well, if they were not given to us, it's a little bit difficult to put
They
them
were
in the proper
given.
place.
Same
Have we
with
been,
mine.
no, we have not located any zoning permits that were turned in, they were given away, and we have
They
not
weren't
seen
given
the
to me.
copies of
Well,
those.
let me clarify something, Don, because one, all I said is I wanted names and addresses in reference to what he worked on, not that I spoke to a township resident. I'm sorry. If I did that when I worked out on the road, I'd have been fired. So, that's number one. Number
what are you
two, the only
referring to
way
about
I
a
found,
township resident? I don't know anything about that.
That's what was in the logs.
that's what the
Spoke
logs
with a
actually were
township
saying at
resident.
different parts. So what I did after talking to you is I went in the zoning office and I opened up 2 files and I found letters. But nobody knew that those letters were ever mailed out. And you know what? It wasn't in the journal. And to tell somebody they had a right to operate a set business by right when there was a court case, that would not exactly be, unless the person that said that, legal.
Did he give a permit for that?
We didn't find one,
Well,
so that's the question. It
that's
was
the
not,
way the letter
point,
was
is he didn't-
gave
he
out.
didn't
It was
give
not in the
permit.
log.
He left everything
Yeah.
here. I don't know how you keep track of your stuff.
Well, if it
Because
wasn't
every
turned
time
in, it
I've
can't be
asked for
filed.
something, it's a difficulty to find it. Not
Yeah.
every time, but most of the time. So I don't know how the records are kept here. But he did that, and if he kept the type of log that Charlie's talking about, that's all he would do, is write a book. He did 6 months worth of work in 3 months here. I mean, it's incredible how much got done. The number of light ordinance violation notices that were sent out, and they're still being taken care of by the lawyer if they weren't taken care of by him. So all of the information is in those logs.
And then a portion of that expenses for the planning work that you did as well. And
What's that?
you and I had already had that discussion at the last planning
What
commission
expenses?
meeting. Well, this isn't just for Tom.
Right.
This is your planning is
Yeah,
involved in
your-
that bill as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and then the subsequent bill that you sent as well.
We've been billing the same way since we worked for you. We've been doing everything, and to have this request come 2 months after the zoning administrator quit, if he had been here, he probably could have provided you with anything. I don't know.
I think a little bit of the 3 months work being, or 6 months worth of work done in 3 months has left a huge hole of what was going on. Are you following me? There's a lot of zoning permits or zoning forms that aren't found when he did talk to people that they're looking for that are have names discussed several times.
Again, I don't know how you keep records here.
Yeah.
He
Well,
gave a log of what he did during every week. I looked at it. I talked to him daily to discuss what he was doing and, you know, to help and give advice if he needed advice. He did things that probably, you know, he did measurements out there at Reset Beach and the rest of the Bay properties in order to formulate those zoning ordinances. There are more to come, or should be done, in order to take that into account. He did work in Linwood, where there was a zoning ordinance amendment promulgated. You know, it's just, to question the fact that he did it. I understand Charlie's point that, you know, where are all of the documents? I don't know. Can you show me where they would be kept?
if he
They were in
wrote
the
out.
zoning office, that's where they
Yes,
should be.
exactly, and if he
So the
wrote
zoning,
out.
so all the records are kept in the zoning office?
If he had the records and he kept them the way he was supposed to, they would be in the zoning office.
Well, and the intent was that he was supposed to follow through, so there was no office staff that filed the letters that Charlie
I did not
referenced.
see them.
Those were never filed by office staff, they were found in a folder and nobody knew anything about it. So the concern is that if we don't know who he spoke to, we don't know if there is a zoning permit in a file, we have thousands of files. So we
Okay.
would like to have had a copy so we knew where he had left things to move forward.
And I
That-
agree,
those were
if
the
if those
questions.
procedures were clear, we would have followed them. To my knowledge, there was no procedure that was being followed at the time. And so I would just say one thing to Brian, it's your responsibility.
You're absolutely 110% correct, but let me ask you a question. You're hired to do a contract for a job, correct? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Easy.
Wow.
Online.
Wonder why
Very
we can't
tough.
find anybody to
Wow.
work for this township.
I think we might have some for a lawyer,
I've got a
yeah.
simple statement, I'm not accusing you of doing anything.
I know, when
think
I'm
that
hired
there
to do a
needs-
contract on a job.
There needs to be a clear way for you to have the information. That's the point I want to make. Not that you didn't, you know, that he didn't do it or whatever. Keeping it in an office somewhere is not adequate. You need to have control over all those documents.
And when somebody hands me a folder that's working for the township, we keep track of that. But if that folder is never transferred to my hand, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what he's working on. He doesn't work for me.
Well, he worked for the board.
He does. But when he spends time with somebody else in their office for 4 hours, does he work for me or does he work for somebody else? How do we know that the information we're looking for is not somebody else's
He works
office?
for the township. So, you know, well,
Well,
I think that all I'm suggesting is that you need to have a better way to keep track of
We were
the
hoping,
zoning.
we were hoping in hiring someone, because we've been through the better way. I was hoping in hiring someone and lobbying that it would get better and it would get more streamlined. But actually, in all honesty, the predecessors before and the predecessors after kept substantially better records. So that's what I was hoping in hiring a professional company to come in and keep us out of a plot hole and keep us out of problems and keep us moving forward. And I'm just telling you from the outside in. And it's true statement. Anytime you pack 6 months of work into 3 months, stuff gets muddy, stuff falls apart. I've had several phone calls. I talked to Tom 3 months ago. Where is he at on my thing? I says, well, did you fill out a zoning permit or something? He says, no, he just told me to do this, this, and this, and this. Have you heard anything? I says, I wouldn't have heard anything. So I send them to the office and they go digging and mining for paperwork. And 5 out of the 4, there's been no paperwork. But I still got someone that's been waiting patiently because there's nothing fast in government. You know that. So,
Well, I got yours taken care of very quickly when you
Yeah.
called me and asked.
yes, you did. And he was fantastic, and he was my 5th, that we found.
Well, I just want to reiterate that when Tom got here, there was a pile of files. I don't know where they were in the office, the zoning office, or where they were, but they were up to his knees. And he did everything he could to try to get those done by the time he left. And if there was some,
No,
you know,
he checked a lot off the list. I'm not taking that away from him. But when we got fast, we got loose. And it's following up now, still coming back and rearing its head. And it's no different than
But
some of the.
many of those issues that were in those file folders have been concluded. And part of them that weren't concluded were the result of those was a zoning ordinance amendment that we had given to you, or the planning commission had given to you 2 or 3 months ago. So.
Yes.
However, if somebody contacted our zoning administrator and said, this is what I want to do, the advice that that person should have been given should have been what was on the books presently, not what was coming. And so we ended up having somebody that had a public hearing that was not published properly because of the fact that there wasn't a secondary variance that was requested because they were told it was already taken care of with an ordinance that hadn't even made its way through the board yet. There was an assumption that what the work you were doing was going to take care of the problem, but the work wasn't done.
Right.
So it wasn't through the process.
And I can give you an example that's sitting right over there of the fact that he was told that it didn't matter. He'd give you the advice based upon the current zoning ordinance or the amendment that was put forward. And he never issued a permit or did anything to the contrary. You know, most of the time.
No, he didn't.
What?
No, he didn't, but like I said, some people did just take it as it was gospel. We had a ZBA meeting where he said, no, they're here. But they missed the proposal on the top of the letter. When they were reading, they never seen the proposal part. He broke it out right in front of us. Look right here, this says I'm qualified, this works. And then when we opened back up to the front page and it said proposal, that wasn't you, it was handled right, but it kind of muddied it because he thought it was going to be changing. He was told it was going to be changed, you just need A. So it is what it is at this point.
So we are going to make a reduction for Seidler's Road for the Bay County Road Commission, correct?
Yes, $870.
807.24. Just write it on the folder.
Right on that, I got a review before I
Yes.
checks out anyway.
So, I don't want to get you
It's
too
fine.
out of whack here, but I think you get them all out of the house anyway.
By tomorrow, they'll all be confused anyway.
No problem.
You need mine?
No, you don't.
Motion to
Accept
accept
the
bills
bills.
with modification.
Second.
Modification of that 807.
And we'll deal with the 30 when it comes.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I would just make the motion to authorize payment of the bills, and if you do have a total with that reduction, you can state the total just to be clear.
I didn't quite figure that out yet, sir.
Well, math's
I spent my time going through those bills.
math's not my strong suit, so don't look at me.
724.
So it comes out to 232, 148.01.
Make a motion to approve bills for 232, 141.
148.01.
148.01.
I'm sorry. That was a Charlie motion.
Charles motion.
I'll second.
Okay,
With the number.
yes.
Make those changes tomorrow.
Call the roll call, please.
Roll call. Campbell.
Yes.
Shano.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Waldee, yes. Payroll.
So just going to follow up and say that the direct deposit has been fantastic. Megan has done a phenomenal job with that transition. It's went very, very smoothly considering. There's a lot of hoops initially, but she's done a great job. She's just been absolutely stellar with payroll. And with that, I will make a motion to approve payroll as submitted.
Second.
Roll call. Campbell.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes, sir.
Shano.
Yes.
Waldee, yes. Old business. Metro Act.
I'm gonna throw to Trent on this one real quick.
Yeah, so our office has been working on the Metro Act. Not necessarily myself, but my colleague Hannah Stocker, who some of you have worked with on this. And for those of you who don't know, the Metro Act is a state statute that applies to telecommunication infrastructure, and it works similar to how, if you're familiar with the state solar siting or renewable energy siting, and how it sort of removes some of the local control. It's somewhat similar to that, and it runs through the Michigan Public Service Commission. So it's different than a lot of other local approvals where it's handled directly by this board. There is a sort of statute in the background. With that being said, we received an application. The board engaged our office to help with it. We came back to the applicant, who is Metro Fibronet, with a couple changes to the proposed agreement. They have accepted our changes now, and my colleague, I believe, provided the agreement that's in your packet to you all tonight. Our recommendation would be that if the board would like to, move forward at this time with approval, that and the statute would support that, that you would make a motion to approve the Metro Act permit application from Metro Fibronet, and you would authorize the clerk and another officer to sign the agreement on behalf of the township, as well as authorizing our office as legal counsel to work on actually executing a permit for that, and then we can also notify the Michigan Public Service Commission as required by statute on behalf of the township. So that's where that's kind of at. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them, but it's, like I said, pretty controlled by statute, and we do have the agreement in your packet. So
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the Metro Act permit from Metro FiberNet LLC with our lawyer doing the final contract.
the permit,
We will
yeah.
do that's right.
Yep.
Permit.
And then if you could just authorize, the agreement has the clerk attesting to it and then another officer signing it. So yeah, just authorize signatories and then.
With the authorized signatories of added to your motion.
So the authorized signatories would be the clerk and the treasurer at this time.
So you need a second then,
I
right?
second that.
So we want to do a roll call, or you just want to?
Roll call.
Yeah.
Roll call, yeah.
Just because of how this
All right,
is.
that's fine. Campbell,
Yes.
Shano,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Waldee, yes.
And because of this, like, do we have to put one absent on this piece of paper?
Probably so.
You could write it in there. It wouldn't
We
hurt.
should have 4 yeses and 1 absent.
Yep. But it's approved. You're good to go. Yep.
Yeah.
Just so you know that's something that always gets sent in with that.
All right. Bay County Road Commission Township Agreement. The toll road. Did we just talk about this?
Yes, this is what I was
I thought we
referring
said
to.
it was 77,000.
Well, that's what it ended up being, and then they took the 30 off. So when they initially built this, with the estimated cost, it was 105. And then once they actually did the work, the bill came in a little bit less, obviously even a greater difference than the contingency that was built into it. So
Since we already approved it with the bills, can we just move on?
I think this actually has to be signed.
Yeah, I would authorize signatories. Yeah.
So, but this is the one where they've already completed the work because of the,
Copy now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's got me and Brad listed on there.
Make a motion to have the contract signed for Botel Road for $75,847
Second.
by Brad Eddy and Brian Waldee.
Roll call. Charlie,
Yes.
Campbell, DeShano,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Waldee, yes. There are no no's and 1 absent. And now we're going to break for a closed session.
Nope.
No,
it's at the end.
Oh, no, my bad. New business, the AFG grant.
Looks like you're up again.
I sent you all the letter to read it, so I assume you all read it.
You wanna give us a couple of bullet points while you like it?
This is between, the 3 towns.
What's between us, Bangor Township, and Monitor Township? Monitor Township took the lead on it. Their assistant chief wrote for the FG grant. We put in for a grant for air packs. So all this MOA is stating is that if we get the air packs, or whatever, if we get 20 air packs and they cost $220,000, we have to pay our 10%. So the last time I priced air packs for 18 air packs was $218,000. So if we would get lucky and get it, we're gonna pay 10%. So if we would, then that's all
Motion to
Susan is
approve
agreeing.
AFG grant memorandum and agreement for chief and the fire department.
Campbell.
It's a good summary.
Yes.
You didn't second
Is there
it.
a second? Yeah, Candace seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Campbell.
Yes.
DeShano.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Waldee, yes.
Right.
Brad is absent.
And I'll bring the paperwork in when it's time to sign, because for the chief at Monitor, it has to be, we can't just sign this and take it to him, it all has to be signed on one piece of paper, so I'll get with Joe and let him know, and we'll get met up and get things signed.
Yeah, that's been ongoing for quite a while, so that's awesome to get it to this point.
Well, it's all up and running now because the government opened back up. So, I mean, we have grants out with Pinconning, we have 2 grants out with Pinconning for radios, and that, I mean, if we get any of them, it's several $100,000 that is gonna save us to replace a lot. So, fingers crossed we get something.
All right, so next item, authorization for attorneys to pursue prior litigation court orders. I would like to just make a motion to authorize the attorneys to work on that. I don't know,
I would
if
like,
you want to elect the 2 people that'll talk to them, you know.
I would like the Troy to be able to, if he hits a rock, to be able to send a letter, but at least they're notified he sent the letter.
As
He
far
can
as the
notify
fire,
me, yeah.
yes. I think there's probably gonna be some documentation that's gonna be needed, that's gonna have to go between the 2 of them. I don't think it's.
Well,
all
we got the
clear.
one letter, I just don't want him to be blind of when it was sent.
Okay.
And he says he's got 3 that he's waiting on and chasing.
Marion and the 213 ones.
No, that's not what this is.
This is different.
This is different. This is authorization for the attorneys to pursue prior litigation court orders.
Oh, copy.
Okay, so this is gonna go directly to the attorneys because the attorneys have the documentation
Okay.
to pursue that. Sorry, I mean,
I second that.
okay.
Did we get a second?
I did
Yes,
second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I'd probably do
Just
a
do
roll
a
call.
board vote?
Yeah, just a roll call.
Campbell. Say yes.
Yes.
DeShano.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Waldee, yes. And there is no no's and 1 absent. Planning Commission.
Do you wanna speak on this review or no?
I can. So, as many of you are aware, the Planning Commission was considering 3 different amendments to the zoning ordinance. They are posted on the website as drafts, as Laurie mentioned earlier. The reason for the delay at the prior meeting was my fault. I can own that. Our office had not finished a legal review as directed by the board. We have, in the past month, finished our legal review of it, and we provided the board with a confidential legal opinion as to those 3 different amendments. As legal counsel, I have no opinion as to whether or not these are good policy choices for the township. That's not what the legal review is. As many of you know, there's specific requirements in the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act for passing zoning amendments. And so we have provided that review to the board, and the board is free to consider each of these amendments individually. I can just say in my experience, it's common for these things to come up to the board and then sometimes go back down to the Planning Commission with recommendations for changes or to otherwise have tweaks put in. Sometimes our office, along with planners, will recommend changes. So that is a common procedure in these instances. But the board here today could make a decision to either approve the zoning amendments as presented, to remand it back to the Planning Commission with changes or with instructions to do further study, or to obviously deny the zoning amendments as they're presented to you. So with that, the board can consider them. I'm happy to answer questions if there are any. But again, it's not really, the policy decision is for the board to make. We just do a technical legal review of the requirements and how they fit together into the whole zoning ordinance, as well as how they comply with the Zoning Enabling Act standards.
So one concern that I have is I think that there was a little bit of miscommunication in how those amendments progressed from the Planning Commission to the office, to the board, to the attorney. Because I know that we hadn't received it until kind of the last minute. That's even reflected in the minutes that, you know, we didn't even have a tangible copy. I know that we had been presented with some concerns about some of the changes that had been discussed by the Planning Commission. This came up at the last Planning Commission meeting as well. That some of the things that the Planning Commission wanted incorporated into the amendments didn't actually translate to the amendment that was actually communicated to us in a couple of different ways. And as I'm looking at this, as listed here, I know, and I don't know if you can clarify this or not, Megan, right? Because I know that what we had received and forwarded to legal did not have the special use highway commercial, because you didn't see that, did you?
Is that for the garage or the gas station use?
I don't.
Yeah.
Was that?
It's included in the one that also has the
but-
religious institutions provision.
Okay, that's
They're
where.
tied together.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
where the confusion was coming in, because as I was reading through there, you know, that part actually stuck out more. So at the last Planning Commission meeting, that was in front of us again, the religious institutions, and the majority of the Planning Commission did vote to remove that from further consideration when we only chose to move forward with the change that Don had recommended, right? So I don't understand. I know that was brought up. Don said that you guys had said prior to my time on there to move forward with that. That's what he had said at the last meeting, right? The
You're
religious,
talking with
the religious
yeah.
institutions.
With the religious institution?
Yes, but somehow it ended up being incorporated into the special use highway commercial in the document that was forwarded to us, but the Planning Commission had never approved that prior because it was just in front of us last month, correct?
Right.
Okay. That's where I was a little bit confused, because it was just in front of us, it wasn't
No,
part of the
that is
original
not.
packet.
Religious institution was approved before you were appointed to the board.
All three of the elements in that proposed zoning amendment have been approved at a previous meeting by the planning commission.
Okay, but when we discussed it at the last meeting, when it was brought forward to
When
have
you
a
discussed
public
it, we
hearing,
didn't
but
discuss
it
it.
was on our list,
Yeah.
on the last agenda to discuss that at the planning commission, which is why we had the discussion. And there were 3 items on it, and we as a board voted down 2 and 3, but passed 1 had to do with the service station. That was the whole discussion that was in front of us.
But they had passed it before, it was you bringing it up.
No, it
and
was on
your
the list.
objections to it.
Yes, correct,
And you
but it was-
you made the motions to strip the other ones out of the amendment.
Correct, but it was ahead in an amendment, and you're saying it was already sent forward. Why was it in front of the planning commission the second time in a public hearing? That's what I'm trying to clarify.
Because you
Because
can't
you never
take
take
it for a
action.
second time.
That's where the confusion is coming in, that he was reviewing religious institutions, and I think, I don't know how much I can get into privilege here, but
Well, I can speak to it. I
Okay,
reviewed
so you're comfortable.
I reviewed the minutes because I was trying to figure out when that was added as well, and it wasn't entirely clear what meeting that was added in, so I wasn't there, so I can't speak
I
to
believe
that.
it was on the May that we put it past to go through to the board.
okay.
And then we discussed it June.
Yeah, it was in front of us for that public hearing thing as the 3rd item, but it wasn't wrapped up with the special use highway commercial at that point. That's where I'm trying to clarify.
I have no notes or minutes in front of me, so I
Okay.
didn't.
All right, so I just wanted to make sure that we hadn't, that it had properly went through the process with the planning
So
commission.
that did
and
go
it
to
wasn't-
legal, correct?
Yes, so the version I reviewed had the highway commercial provision as like section 1, and then the other sections in the draft got to the religious institution. So they were like unrelated, but in the same amendment. And it sounds like that was approved prior to that, which is, like I said, I wasn't involved in that, so I can't speak to what happened there.
Can
But
we know what the recommendation from legal was?
I don't have a recommendation as to the policy. That's what I was saying. It's a they're all policy decisions for the board. I did, in a confidential legal opinion, flag what I thought were potentially concerns or things to think about with some of the provisions, but like whether or not to move forward is a policy decision. It has nothing to do with the legal, you know.
Will the planning commission be privy to your recommendation?
If the board chooses to provide the confidential legal opinion to the planning commission, then yeah, it's
Great.
their privilege to do with what they'd like.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Did the definition for the religious institutions get written?
Yeah.
Yes, it was written and approved.
You said you hadn't written definitions yet when
I
you
said
I
said
didn't
the
write
meeting
any I didn't write any definitions, no.
Yeah, the definition's not written, because
Yeah,
he
that's
said
what-
he was working on the definition, and that was the issue. Because if you're gonna put it in the chart and you don't have the definition,
Okay,
we're
you're
right
two
back
different
where we
things.
are.
So the religion, Tom, or Don, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was not at last, but we approved the not allowing any religious institution that goes against the Constitution. We voted on that in the meeting before Laurie.
Yeah.
Correct. So what he's talking about is allowing religious institutions into highway commercial districts.
No, I think the issue is that the statement was, if that's approved, if that is approved by the board, that I would want to put definitions in the zoning ordinance to clarify.
What's permitted, what
What
wasn't permitted. That's where the gray area is, because what makes any one of us to say this religion's allowed and this one's not allowed. And constitutionally, then you'll fall underneath the federal guideline of 2000, which is our LUPA, which is the Religious Liberties Act. And then, you think we got a legal bill now? You'll see one that'll blow your brains out.
We want ism to come in, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm telling you,
Wake up.
there's freedom of religion.
this
That
is a free
federal
nation.
right.
Life, liberty, and
So,
pursuit of happiness. I
the
can't tell
reason-
you what you believe. If you want to be an atheist, you can be an atheist. That's not my choice to tell you one way or the other.
If you're not gonna keep
Come
it
on.
there, then they're coming.
No,
guys.
okay,
They're
hold
coming.
on. Point of order. So, here's the thing. When we send it to legal for review, it is to make sure that we're not opening up a legal liability by the policy that is moving forward. That is what we have legal representation for, and that we're not going to make a policy decision that they would not find to be defensible should somebody challenge it. There's a reason why it goes to legal.
And that's
And
why
there's a
I
reason
think
why it
that
comes to the board.
and that those, since this is still an issue that's being debated, that opinion should go to the planning commission so that they can see what he's saying, or what this firm is saying in regard to that. And I would, suggest that Jeremy can bring that
So
up
we
at
can
the
make
next
amendments.
meeting.
Well, the chair could,
The chair.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not Jeremy necessarily.
well, he can ask.
Yeah, he can ask.
He wasn't there, so that's why I was saying that he could request to review
Oh,
it
he wasn't at
so
the
that
last
he can,
meeting.
his opinion could be heard.
Based upon the confidential contents of the legal review, I find that there are some serious legal concerns as written, some lack of clarity in the amendments that were brought forward that open up potential legal problems.
All of the
I
amendments?
think there was a problem at every level, yes. And because of that, I am concerned that this was pushed through very quickly. Now, the mixed-use district in particular is a very big change to make to our overall zoning, and to rush that through is very concerning. It is a slippery slope. There are always unintended consequences, which is why these things have to really be thought through. And because of the alarms that were raised with what was pushed forward from the Planning Commission, I feel that we have a legal obligation to pause on moving forward with this until we actually have clarity on the terms, on the on some of the
Definitions.
policy decisions, the definitions that were included here.
So how is the planning commission going to
I'm
make?
sorry, we're talking right now.
Wow.
You
wanna
guys
be
can
thrown out now?
Oh, you let
Point
everybody
of
else.
order,
Yeah.
this is where
You
the
too,
board
Charlie.
discusses the decisions, this is
Don't
not
have to look
public
at me like
input.
that.
Leave now if you have
No,
a
you
problem.
can too,
This-
Charlie.
You can too.
I
You
didn't
can
say
too.
a
You
word.
can resign now, because we're all looking for you to do it.
So this is where the board discusses the decision in front of us. This is not time for everybody to yell out. The board is having a discussion. This is something where we ask for advisement if we need it. At this point, we are talking. We are the decision makers. So if you want to say something, that's what public input is for. Not yelling in the middle of a discussion between the board members. So, anyway, that's my piece. I don't know if anybody has anything they would like to add.
Recall petitions will be here.
Yes.
I make a motion to table them until we look for the legal potholes, and get definitions. We've had a ZBA meeting where we had to define two now.
Costs us more lawyer money. Let's keep it going. Bullshit. It ain't your money, it's mine, dude.
Yep.
Is that right?
Wow.
Are you talking tabling all three?
Yes, at this time, all three
Yeah,
have
table them.
problems.
It's not your guys' problem. They took their job, they didn't know what they were doing.
Roll call, please.
Roll call. DeShano,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Waldee, yes. The Hayden estimate. We do have two computers that are non,
We put that one on hold.
Well, we haven't put it on hold yet, so
We're
we
to
need to
talk
do
about
it
it
now.
now.
Yeah, sorry. We kind of went back and forth on that.
we do have two computers that are non-Windows 11 compliant. That is the deputy treasurer's computer.
Wow, they already put Windows 11 on it.
It's-
Yeah,
it's-
that's weird.
There's two computers. One of them is either your office or the assessor's office, I'm not sure which
No,
one.
no, that was last time, we already
I'm
replaced
just
that.
going by what I was told.
Yeah,
And the other
that's
one is
weird.
the deputy clerk's computer.
The other one's the fire department.
Huh?
The other one's the fire department.
Fire
So,
department, okay.
Is that in the radio room?
Must
I
be
thought,
because they
yeah,
just
we
replaced mine
replaced,
last year.
right. So the last time this came up, we replaced the treasurer's computer because it was the oldest in the building and the assessor's computer, and all the rest were gonna go to 11, and then they found the fire chief's computer wouldn't take it, and they kind of had lost track.
Windows 11 is on the computer in the in the radio room, so I'm really not
Yeah,
sure what they're
so this doesn't.
I'm just going by
Yeah.
what I've been
You guys
told.
need a new IT person because Hyden's horrible anyway.
I have my own thoughts
I
on
second
that as
that
well, but that's,
I decided exactly.
Ken's not gonna be
Personally,
happy
I'd like to
with
kind
it.
of table this until we can get,
I agree,
Yeah,
this kind of came out
Motion
of
to
the
hold
blue.
it.
Yeah, so,
Somebody want to
Charlie,
second it?
I will, okay.
Shop around.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's second it? Charlie, did you second it?
Yes.
Waldee. Oh,
I was
got-
first, he was second.
Yes.
Authorization to receive tax payments.
All right, as we've moved forward, I did do a review of the previous minutes where I had actually put authorizations forward for who could receive tax payments in the office, and I had assigned that motion by roll, and unfortunately, the minutes actually put it by name, so I need to correct that now that I've realized the mistake.
Okay.
So I am going to authorize, in addition to obviously statutorily authorize the treasurer and the deputy treasurer, the clerk and the deputy clerk to receive tax payments. To clarify, this is not to collect them or put them in the system. This is simply to receive them at the front desk. And I'm also going to authorize trustee Campbell to do the same as he's
Okay.
filled in when need has occurred. Going forward, those are my authorizations.
I second.
Roll call, Whalen.
Yes.
Campbell. Waldee, yes. DeShano.
Yes.
Cemetery maintenance and cleanup.
Well, we had a meeting at the cemetery. and then having a meeting at the cemetery. Now that we cleared out 11 trees in the front spot,